At Healthcare Partners Medical Group, our mission is to provide the highest quality of healthcare to each and every patient. With 5 locations in Pahrump, we are local doctors you know and trust. We want to thank you for choosing us. Quality care starts here.
Tonight on News 46, we will never forget the ceremonies of 9/11. Local firefighters honor their own, and the Boy Scouts hold a flag retirement ceremony. News 46 starts now.
You're watching KPVM News 46 with Rick Vale and Rhonda Van Winkle. Local coverage from Deanna O'Donnell and news across Nevada with Janet Eric. News 46, local coverage you can count on.
Good evening. It's Monday, September 12th, 2011. I'm Rick Vale for News 46. Topping our news tonight, ceremonies were held in almost every town across the nation. The United States and many other parts of the world paused to honor and mourn the 10th year anniversary of the September 11th terrorist attacks. Deanna O'Donnell reports.
Determined to never forget. The terrorist attacks resulted in the deaths of nearly 3,000 people after 2 hijacked planes crashed into the World Trade Center. 1 into the Pentagon in Arlington, Virginia, and 1 crash-landed in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. A solemn fitting ceremony took its place where the Twin Towers once stood in New York City yesterday. And perhaps the most moving tribute of the day, family members in New York read aloud 2,983 names. 2,977 killed in 2001 in New York, Pennsylvania, and Virginia, and 6 killed during a bomb attack at the World Trade Center in 1993. The number of the victims of this attack, however, is still rising as a result of medical issues that have and are still claiming the lives of our heroes, who were the first responders who continue to give the ultimate sacrifice. In New York, the focus was on those who were killed in the World Trade Center, their names now engraved on bronze panels that long bear witness to the tragedy. The National September 11th Memorial in New York City at Ground Zero opens to the public today. A decade and a day after terror attacks brought down the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center in Lower Manhattan. The memorial opened a day early only to the victims' family members and those attending the commemoration service at Ground Zero, which resulted in the deaths of 2,753 people. Roses were left on the bronze plaques that bear the names of the victims that surround the perimeter of the 9/11 Memorial Pool during the 10th anniversary ceremonies. In New York, Washington, and Pennsylvania, across the United States and around the world, flags unfurled, tears were shed, and rituals were carried out, now as familiar as they are heartbreaking. In Pennsylvania, the ceremony was focused on the passengers who sacrificed their lives seizing United Flight 93 from terrorists before it could hit the Capitol or White House. At the Pentagon in Virginia, eyes moistened at the memory not only of the 184 killed there, but also for the 6,000-plus members of the armed services who have died in Afghanistan and Iraq. At the Pentagon, the remembrance began when workers unfurled a flag to the right of the spot where the building was struck, just as they had done on September 12th of 2001. President Barack Obama quoted the Bible yesterday and spoke of finding strength in fear. Former President George W. Bush invoked the national sacrifice of the Civil War. Vice President Joe Biden said hope must grow from tragedy. Americans of every stripe, from presidents to firefighters to average citizens, paused to honor the dead, the families, and the heroes in churches, at the sites of the attacks, on the streets, and in the living rooms nationwide. Church bells rang, prayers were read aloud, choirs sang. The words ring in our ears forever. We will never forget. I'm Deanna O'Donnell for News 46.
And Pahrump Valley Fire and Rescue held their annual September 11th ceremonies yesterday at Station 1.
September 11th, 2001 was a horrific day for all Americans. Between US 93, the Twin Towers, and the Pentagon attacks, it's hard to believe it was a decade ago. The pain is still there, and we will never forget.
was blind, but now I see.
It's a little different for a number of reasons. First of all, through the union president, Tim Murray, he worked diligently for an extended period of time to acquire a piece of steel from the World Trade Center. And fortunately for all of us, including our community, we have a good representative piece that was delivered earlier this year. And they fashioned it in such a manner that we could display it and move it around readily. And we're going to be putting it on permanent display within Station 1. And so as soon as our people or citizens come in through the building, one of the first things they see with our department is something that came from New York City.
And we had our ceremony. What times were both of the ceremonies?
8:46 and 9:03 today, which West Coast time, unfortunately, but it represents the times when the World Trade Center was attacked.
And a little bit about the firefighters and what we actually did during the ceremony.
Well, what we do is we have our remembrance. We say a number of prayers. We gather around. We have a centerpiece, and this year it's the steel that the union acquired, as well as a set of turnout gear. As you can see, that's actually a real and correct set of FDNY turnouts. And as you know, we have a very good friend who served on Rescue 1 in FDNY for a number of years named Kevin Shea. And Lieutenant Shea graciously lent us his turnout gears. And if you may recall, we've talked about this previously, that he was actually injured in the first World Trade Center event in 1993 when he and his partner were effecting a rescue deep in the garage, and they came upon a 30-foot crater, which they couldn't see at the time. And they fell down that crater, and it took him a number, I think it was like 4 or 5 hours to be rescued, broke a number of bones in his body. He typifies a true hero because he was effecting rescues, and at the time he was injured. And his turnout gear is represented here as well today. He was also on the pile on 9/11. So, yeah, he's just one of those guys. And there's so much more than just us getting together as a group today. There's so much history going on here. And it's just our way of doing it and involving and celebrating with the community as far as what we do and how they support us.
When you speak to your firefighters about September 11th, what generally do you guys speak about?
It's kind of funny because we try to focus on things that were near and dear to us on that day, but we also talk about the people that we know that were involved in the World Trade Center, and just kind of reflect, I think, is the best and most accurate way to describe it.
Crowds gathered on Highway 160 in front of Pahrump Party Supply to honor those whose lives were lost in the September 11th terrorist attacks.
Well, it really was great this year. We had probably about 100 people out. We started at 5:30 this morning, and we had 2 lights on our Twin Towers. And so we've been out here since then, and over the span, we're getting close to the end. But we've had a lot of people out, a lot of response to the community. It's been really nice.
A lot of people standing on the side of the road, but a lot of people honking from their cars, too, as well.
Yeah, that was kind of the key reason for being here. That little honk says, "I remember, I salute." The men and women who died, the men and women who served, and on that day in the Pentagon in Pennsylvania and in New York City, and then of course our men and women that are on duty protecting us and giving us this freedom today.
And some of the comments that you've been hearing from the community.
Oh, just a lot of support. What's interesting is they said, "You've been doing this?" And I said, "Yeah, we've been doing this for 9 years." And people more and more determined to come out the next time. There's a family here with little kids, and she wanted to make sure her kids knew all about it. Yeah. There's been kids here that were young, that weren't even born then, but their parents have them out here. I discovered that about 3 years ago with a group of Cub Scouts. I was reminding them about 9/11, and I noticed they gave me this blank look, and I started doing the math. I'm thinking, they were like 2 years old at the time. Yeah. So, yes, it's important. We've got to pass this down. We've got to remember to pass this this day of honor down, like our parents passed down Pearl Harbor, VJ Day, VE Day. We've got to remember to pass this down. This younger generation of parents, it's time for them to do their part. Mike Selbach with the chamber was out here with his little boys. We need to never, ever forget. And I won't say not use the word forgive, because I do believe we have to forgive. God is the only one who can take revenge, but we have to never forget.
And Kay, the gentleman in the jean shorts, was a first responder on the scene of the 9/11 attacks. He did not want to speak on camera, but we do want to thank him for his brave service to our country. And folks, coming up, our coverage of the 9/11 events continues. We'll have all this and more right after the break.
News 46 is brought to you by News is brought to you by Southwest Medical Associates. Their healthcare center is now open in your neighborhood. Southwest Medical Associates. Now that's powerful medicine.
Welcome back to News 46. Folks, a moment of silence was held in the parking lot of the Pahrump Nugget just yesterday.
Here at the Pahrump Nugget in the parking lot, a September 11th event was held with a moment of silence. The Pahrump Valley High School Junior ROTC Color Guard presented the colors, and of course we had a ceremony. We're going to speak to General Manager Jeremy Jensen.
How you doing? We're having a ceremony today to remember 9/11. It's a 10-year anniversary. We don't want to forget about the heroes of 9/11.
What are we expecting to see?
We're going to have a little ceremony. We have the fire department here, the police department, our town manager. We're going to have a ceremony here in about 10 minutes. It's going to be great.
And a moment of silence, too, as well.
Absolutely. We have a moment of silence. Again, just to never forget the heroes of 9/11. It's very dear to many of our hearts, and we do everything we can to support.
It's a wonderful event. Tell me who else we have to thank for putting this on.
I would thank everyone, the Chamber of Commerce, Mike Dreyer, Bill Kohlbarger, Fire Department, Tony DeMayo's here. Just thank everyone in the community was involved in this one. So we thank you all for your support and being a part of this event today.
Some of your thoughts on September 11th, 10 years later.
I mean, it was horrible. Obviously, it was a horrible event, and it touches everyone's heart just to remember the heroes and what that means. It's a very sad day. 10 years later, it's still a very sad day to think back on it.
And churches from all over town joined together at the United Methodist Church on Highway 372 for their annual 9/11 Remembrance Ceremony.
We started this 3 years ago when the pastor asked, is there anything happening in Pahrump for 9/11? I said, no, there isn't. So let's do something. So I contacted every church in this town and invited them to come and take a half hour. That was when 9/11, we started at 9 in the morning and went till 6 or 7 at night. Of course, today we started at 2 o'clock. And we'll go to a 7. Again, I said, first come, first serve on this one. We have all denominations, anyone that wants to come. Whoever was first got to be here, got to be on the list. And we have the list up there. I think we have 10.
We have the Junior ROTC presenting the colors today and a little bit of speeches and as well as some music.
Right. The pastor of this church, Alicia Tompkins, gave the welcoming and the prayer. And then I gave a little reflection on 9/11. What it means to me and what I think it should mean to everybody about remembering. We had the ROTC from our local high school, Pahrump Valley High School, raised the flag and with their cadet group, and then we sang some patriotic songs. We had a flyover with the helicopters. And we had, I think, a good program.
So Mercier flew over as well. We have Engine 2 on scene.
Yes, we were going to have Engine 1 on there, the one that was at the
Tower Ladder 1.
The Tower Ladder 1. It was at 9/11. It's been refurbished and Pahrump City owns it now. But there's some mechanical defect that's in the shop right now. Yeah. And Scott said he'd bring this other one over so we could display this one.
And the Boy Scouts held a flag retirement ceremony yesterday at the VFW on Homestead.
Well, 528 flags were retired here at the VFW on Homestead Road. Not just American flags, Israeli flags, POW flags, and flags of all types were retired here. We are going to speak to Donald McDougall and Joshua, one of the Boy Scouts here at the VFW.
The United States Flag Code simply says when the American flag can no longer represent the country, it should be retired dignified, with dignity, preferably by the process of burning.
And so how many flags do you think we retired today?
528.
We get these from all over the place, don't we?
We get them from the casinos. We get them from Pahrump. We get them from Las Vegas. We statewide. They come all over the place.
And Joshua, tell me a little bit about the ceremony that we had.
The ceremony was just a normal ceremony. We retired, as Mr. Max said, 528 flags. We had an honor guard which walked in and retired the flags if they chose, and the audience was able to retire flags if they wanted.
So about your own participation in this.
I was calling the color guard or honor guard up to retire the flags or lower the flag that was on the flagpole to be retired.
And the Boy Scouts always does this, don't they? How many times a year?
Depending what troop and what location, some troops do once or twice a year. There are troops that do a flag retirement once a month. There's no set format. In the VFW, we try to do it twice a year.
And we had a bunch of youth here today, didn't we?
We had a good 20, 30 young youth. We had some ROTC members, Boy Scouts, the Americaners. I'm not exactly sure what their affiliation is. We had some girls, some Girl Scouts. So we had a lot of youth.
Tell me what that means, that the youth are here remembering on 9/11.
It means I have faith in America, because that youth is what we're depending on. And if they show they respect the flag now, I will hope they carry it when they become adults.
Joshua, your thoughts on 9/11?
9/11 to me is just a day to remember what happened on 9/11 and to honor the people that have died for our country and serving our country, or just being who they are, being American heroes day by day.
And the evening ended last night with a moving reading of names and a candlelight vigil on Highway 160 in front of Terriblestown last night.
We had today was through Kiwanis sponsored. We had the young people read the names of Flight 93, law enforcement, and the firefighters. We displayed all the other names on our trailer for people to remember what this 10-year anniversary date means to us. We have some young people way down there that read the names, but we have the Michael family to show you how young they were that they read the names. And this age, they weren't even born 10 years ago.
We are teaching them what it meant to us and what tragedy happened.
We had many NYPD here. We had our cadets, Nye County cadets, read the names. The young people, I was so choked up. We had lines of young people reading the names of the people that passed. And Flight 93, of course, they actually fought the terrorists. So, and I was talking to Tony. I said, Tony, you know, I want to do something. Of course, I'm going to work through Kiwanis. I'm a Kiwanian. Tony said, contact Patrick Michael of Terribles. Oh, I said, okay, because we've never really used Terribles as a site before. I work at Saida Trudeau Chrysler Jeep Dodge. I went in there, and Patrick was having his car serviced.
Yeah,
I said, you're just the man I want to see. And with the help of Kiwanis, Patrick Michaels of Terribles, all our junior high school, Girl Scouts, high school, we were able to put this together. And we had so many events going on. We had the morning event, and this is our finishing event to remember September 11, 2001.
What does it mean to you to be here?
To remember.
Thanks, guys. Pat, give me a few words of what September 11th means to you.
You know, September 11th is just, it's an important day. It's a day that we have to reflect on. And I think Linda's a prime example of how we can take a situation like this and make it positive and continue to grow the positive nature of it and be Americans, true Americans and look at tough times and forge through them. And, Linda and her group, and they've done a phenomenal job to come out here and put this out. And we're here to help and provide a spot, but they are truly the ones that have fought for this, so.
And we will have more on tomorrow night's newscast at the September 11th ceremonies, including a local firefighter whose first day on the job was yesterday. Also, the sheriff and town manager speak from the heart about the attacks And a town board member sheds tears for the victims. And folks, we're going to be right back with a look at your weather. Zach Fuentes has your 7-day forecast right after the break.
This weather is brought to you by Healthcare Partners Medical Group, with 5 locations in Pahrump. Local doctors and professional staff providing total care from infancy to seniors. News 46 weather is also brought to you by your local dairy farmers. Dairy products are very important in maintaining a healthy body. For more information, you can visit their website at nevadadairycouncil.org.
Welcome back to News 46. I'm Zach Fuentes here with your weather. Today we actually did have a chance of thunderstorms in the afternoon, so we have yet to see if that's going to happen. We had a high of 90 degrees, very nice outside if you were out there at all. The winds to come out of the south at 5 miles per hour and are gusted up to 10 miles per hour. Our pressure's holding steady there at 29.97, and our UV index is at 9, very high. Humidity was kind of high for us, at least at 26%, and our sunrise was at 6:24 a.m. Our record for today was back in 1948 at 108 degrees. Tonight we're looking at cloudy skies again, a low of 68 degrees and winds to come out of the north at 4 miles per hour, our gusts to be at up to 8 miles per hour, and our humidity to be even higher at 31%. Our sunset's looking to be at 6:56 p.m., and our record for today was 55 degrees back in 1985. Tomorrow we're looking at a chance of some thunderstorms, a high of 92 degrees and a low of 68 degrees. Winds to come out of the south-southwest at 4 miles per hour, and our gusts at up to 8 miles per hour. Our UV index is also going to be at 8, so going down a little bit there. Still very high though, and our sunrise is looking to be at 6:24 a.m. Our humidity to be at 25%. Tuesday and Wednesday we're looking at a chance of rain, 30% chance on Tuesday, 20% chance on Wednesday. Clouds, of course, but our temperatures are looking very nice actually. No triple digits there at all. Even in the 80s on Wednesday and Thursdays. Our overnight lows are all in the 60s, so it should be a very nice week. And today's worst weather was in Baker, Texas, where they had record heat. Back to you.
Well, thank you very much, Zach. And folks, please be sure to subscribe to our free weekly email newsletter. To subscribe, just visit our website at KPVM.TV and fill in the form right on the main page. The newsletter is filled with top stories, coupons, articles, and more. And this Thursday at 10 a.m. at the Nye County Administration Building in the Calvada I, the public is invited to discuss customer service issues, system issues, rate cost issues, and any other issues of concern with This Utilities, Inc. For more information, contact Don Rivard at 702-486-7214. And the Bureau of Land Management Pahrump Field Office is inviting volunteers to participate in National Public Lands Day at Big Dune in the Armagosa Valley this Saturday, September 17th, from 8 a.m. until 11:30 p.m. at the main east entrance off Valley View Road. Volunteers will be able to put up signs, add an informational kiosk, improve their fitness, and enjoy our treasured outdoor space. For more information, please contact Mark Sanchez at 702-515-5038. And that's going to do it for this edition of News 46. I'm Rick Vale, and from everyone up here on the Hill at KPVM, we wish you a safe evening, and we'll see you here again tomorrow night. Until then, good night, Pahrump.